We really found that the accusations against Grand Canyon, which is a faith-based organization, and we looked at all the facts of the case.
I am familiar with the university. My question is, how are those students going to be made whole if you are not allowing the university to pay the fines? What's the plan?
I'm not sure that that's the right analysis of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the clip you're about to see is almost unbelievable. Here we have Representative Ilhan Omar attempting to lecture Education Secretary Linda McMahon about ethics and accountability, even though Omar has built much of her public profile criticizing the very institutions she now claims to defend. She arrived at the hearing clearly fired up, trying to corner McMahon over a penalty involving a Christian university, expecting an easy moment of political theater. Ian, but what happened next was the opposite. While Omar pushed aggressively and repeatedly interrupted, McMahon stayed calm, composed, and focused strictly on the facts. The contrast was striking. One side heated and relentless, the other steady and unshaken. And that's what makes this moment so remarkable. As Omar spoke forcefully about integrity and responsibility, critics couldn't help but notice the irony, given the controversies that have followed her career in Washington. So take a close look at this exchange, because once the clip finishes, we're going to break down exactly why many observers say Omar may not be the strongest voice to lead this kind of accusation.
Gentlemen, I recognize now the gentlelady from Minnesota, Ms. Omar.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Madam Secretary, for being here with us. Is it fair to assume that you are aware that when a loan borrower is defrauded by a school, that there is a provision in law called the borrower defense?
Yes, I am.
Okay. It is a straightforward concept. A student should not be forced to repay loans to schools that lied to them. We know that millions of federal grants and loans go out the door while students are left with education that is not worthy. So I was actually surprised a few weeks ago when your department quietly rescinded $37 million fine that was placed against Grand Canyon University. Can you explain why that happened?
Let me think for a second. Let me review my notes on that, because there were a couple of things I wanted to make sure I covered with you. We really found that the accusations against Grand Canyon, which is a faith-based organization, and we looked at all the facts of the case.
I am familiar with the university. My question is, how are those students going to be made whole if you are not allowing the university to pay the fines? What's the plan? I'm
not sure that that's the right analysis of it, but I will look into it further and get back to you.
And you'll give me back a writing?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Because we know that, you know, the president in whom you serve had a fraudulent university called Trump University, and he himself settled 3 lawsuits before becoming president. We know that there are roughly 1.4 million borrowers who have been approved for a borrower defense discharge and are still waiting for that process. How are you clearing out that backlog?
In terms of the borrowed defense funds?
Uh-huh.
There are lists of that. I'll be happy to get back to you with those numbers.
Okay. And while those students wait, can you give us a commitment that you are not going to collect that debt?
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that, as to what the situation is. And
I don't understand how that's a difficult question to say yes to. They've been defrauded. They are waiting for relief. While they wait for their relief, well, they shouldn't have to pay back that debt.
Well, if they've been defrauded and it's been adjudicated that they've been defrauded, then I will get back to you as to what the time frame is and why there's a holdup, if there is.
Okay.
I'm not sure as I sit here right now.
Wonderful. There was, I know that you've been questioned a lot on IDEA and its funding. I won't relitigate those questions. I just have two particular questions to address, or two areas to address. We know that the IDEA, that you have gotten rid of the legal team that guides the states in implementation. How are you going to rectify that?
I don't know what you mean by we've gotten rid of the legal team. We have had some reduction in force of
There was a
members.
firing of the entire legal team.
Well, we have other lawyers in place at the Department of Education, and we are
The
fully...
entire
we are
team
full-
that was for IDEA has been fired. So how are you addressing that?
Because we have other lawyers who are in place that can handle those things. And as I mentioned before, we have not missed any of our statutory requirements.
Well, I do believe that that firing hurts the implementation. We also know that you have gutted the Office of Civil Rights when there is already investigation backlog. How are you going to fix the discrimination claim cases that are out there?
Well, there are, excuse me, there are cases that we're looking into. And again, we have not missed any of our statutory requirements in terms of OCR. We also have a task force.
There is a backlog. There are a lot of
There is a backlog
There are a lot of
because we
kids in our schools that are waiting for relief. When you get rid of the people that are supposed to carry out those investigations, how are you to assure that those kids will not continue to be harmed? We are talking about so many situations in where kids are being discriminated against, and you got rid of the people that investigate those investigations, so those kids can protect themselves from from discrimination.
Well, we still have a very strong and capable staff in OCR. At the
Then
Department
you
of
wouldn't have a
Education.
backlog if that was the case. There is a current backlog.
All right, everyone, take a moment and look at what just unfolded. Representative Ilhan Omar came into that exchange with intense energy, trying to corner Education Secretary Linda McMahon over the decision surrounding Grand Canyon University. On pressing hard with accusations and constant interruptions, clearly expecting to land a decisive moment. But the outcome was very different. McMahon stayed calm, composed, and focused entirely on the facts, explaining that the case had been reviewed carefully and that the evidence simply did not support the claims being made. That's what due process looks like, examining the facts before delivering judgment. What made the moment stand out even more was the sharp contrast in tone, one side pushing aggressively, the other responding with steady professionalism. Critics have long argued that Omar frequently raises concerns about integrity and institutional failures while facing her own stream of political controversies and scrutiny, which adds another layer of tension whenever she takes such a confrontational stance. But the broader argument from McMahon's supporters is that her role is to focus on restoring stability and accountability within the education system, while they see Omar's approach as more focused on political messaging and viral moments. Whatever side viewers land on, the exchange highlights the deep divide in how leaders approach policy debates in Washington today. So now the question shifts to you. After watching this clash, whose approach resonates more with you? McMahon's calm, fact-driven defense, or Omar's aggressive challenge? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoy these breakdowns of major political moments, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more analysis.